Next one is that, the subject knowledge. The subject knowledge is to understand your knowledge, but as I said, the first part is very important because they also know that people who come to PhD might have good knowledge by now, or might get more knowledge once they come in. The first part is very important. The second part is to justify your preparation for the first part. So in the subject knowledge, your preparation should be about the concepts, the skills, and the knowledge you have gained from your bachelor's and master's has to be focused more. So that is from your bachelor's and master's. So you should be comfortable in answering the questions about those, those concepts. Second, if you are working, then from your work experience, so like they may ask about different roles you have done and how it's related to academics and all those things. And the next one is from areas applied. If you applied for OB and HR or finance, so particular questions on those areas. So what is that? If you apply for marketing, then different questions on that. What do you mean by BOP or the different 4Ps, 4S, or whatever different kinds of marketing, finance, or then HR or public policy, whichever it is applied, those things. So now, one important thing is that when you say knowledge about your education work experience, not just about recalling the knowledge, it is also about how do I put it in an academic context. For example, if you are working in the later stages, how do you draw your understanding of work from academic point? Academic point is like, how do you relate that to what you have read earlier? How do you relate that what is happening in the research? From your education, if they ask you something like what are the motivation theories, it is not about repeating what are the motivation theories. They would expect you to say the concept, critique that, look at what are the research happening at this moment, that topic. So these kind of little, knowledge of little, upper level. So this is how they look at. And the next part is skills. When you look at skills, it is basically the basic mathematics skills, because IIMs are famous for their quantitative rigor. So obviously the quants is one part which they really want to ask from you. It's not mandated that you should know maths, but basically they ask your comfortability because the coursework will be very maths heavy. So very much maths heavy. So they want to see what's your comfortability. So basic maths up to 12th standard or 10th, or like whatever you have studied, those. The basic statistics, what you have learned in your masters, is enough for that, I guess. Then it depends on how much depth you want to go. You can always lift your hand and say that, no, I only this much. And you can answer up to a certain level. Then you can say that I'm done with whatever I know, and this is the depth I can go up to. But having a basic knowledge about basic mathematics and statistics is very important. The third is that research methods. One doesn't expect you to have a very in-depth understanding of the research methods. It's better to know some quantitative methods, some qualitative methods, what are different sampling techniques, how they are used, the different designs of research, so that you can answer at that moment, or at least you can answer the proposal you have made or the research question you are proposing. These are skill parts. So first we covered about motivation. Second, we spoke about subject knowledge. Third is skill part. And the fourth one is the research. Okay. So some institutes may ask for a concrete research proposal. I've heard most of the new IIMs ask for that. So in that sense, you have to be more, well prepared on those lines. Institutions like IIMAs or other institutes were not that much keen on your research questions because they know that is going to change once you come here, or it will take different turns once you're here. Basically, this is asked to know what's your current preparation on the research and how much you incline towards that. So then the first thing is, what's your research question? Sometimes they don't ask a right question. Ask you to tell your question. Sometimes they will just ask you to tell a research interest. And the second part is that one should be clear about that. Why did you select those questions? What is the reason? Why you want to select, study that? So that shows the significance of that research. So now why did you select can be of two levels. One, your personal interest. You can narrate that, but you can't stop there. You have to go beyond and say that why you have to study that. What is the significance of that in academics right now? So why you want to do that? So then the third part is how. How is the method part. So if it is a research question, if this is why you want to study, then how do you going to study that? What method you going to use? What kind of samples you are going to take? Those things. And the last part is past literature. So we know that research is not done in isolation. Research is basically a continuation of a conversation which is happening. So if you have to contribute to the conversation, you should know what has been a conversation on that particular topic. So I'll come to the question. Somebody asked how to select a topic. So I'll come to that question later. Then I'll like talk about this past literature in more detail. So now, as I know you are just trying to apply and you are in post-graduation, don't worry about these questions in a much, I mean, don't worry too much about these things, because I know these things are very difficult and it takes a lot of time, and I have struggled through it for a very long time. Even while appearing for my interview, I was not very sure about these things. So when I'm saying about what is the expectation, but it is not compulsory that you should, think it is too much tough and other things. It's a process. It takes time. So, and it needs some efforts. But these are the things you can do with little guidance, and if you have some time to do that. So don't worry too much about how can I do this. This looks a little complex. Nothing. It's a simple process. Select what interests to you. Then decide why do you want to do that. What's the reason behind that. Then read about that in the Google Scholar. And then read about that so that you will know what has been done earlier and what you can do. Because something you think could have been already done or done in a different shade, and you have to decide something. Because the one question usually people ask when you do a research is that what's new in that. If it is done earlier, then you need not to do a research. So to address what is new in that, you should know what is the literature that you can read. And the next part is how do you want to do that. You can read, if you read different papers, you will know what are the different methods used in previous papers, then you can apply here. So this is to show that what's your preparation basically, not to show your mastery or research.